Yogasth, self-realization. Um, Self-realization, and self-realization is a term in a spiritual word, in yogic word, in divine word, which almost everybody is aware to the extent he understands it, and he or she, everybody, on the path of spirituality, on the path of God, wants to realize himself, herself. I hear everybody saying, those who come to me, those who are concerned with me, that's where I want to attain self realization. I want to realize myself. As because self realization is the ultimate purpose of the human being. I have heard it from the mouth of many saints, yogis, or the great people. I have read it in many books, in Ved, Upanishad, and all, that self realization is the real purpose of the human being. Okay, of course. This term is really very popular among spiritual people, the people who tread the path of yoga, divinity, spirituality, and all. Self realization, this term contains two words, self and realization. Self, as is generally understood, commonly accepted, is the soul, is your uh, very being, the basis of your existence, your spirit, and that element by which you are known. And if we go through the yogic way, it is also said that the self is divided in five categories. It is fivefold: physical self, your pranic self, your mental self, your intellectual self, and your bliss self. Just to understand this self, they divide it in five categories. Okay, to better understand this self, the yogis, the Upanishads, they say that this self can be known by the self alone. The self, which is equated and considered as same or a part of the greatest self, Paramatman, the God, the Almighty, all that is, Tat Sat, by which many names we know, the ultimate divinity, divine energy, is the same as we are talking about the individual self. So, what is the nature of this self? It also means the nature of the soul and all. We will definitely not go very deep and in detail of it here now. But this is some element, this is some divine aspect of the greatest divinity by which everything is sustained, by which everything is manifested, and by which everything is known, enjoyed, and realized. That is why I say the self realization can be attained by self alone. Of course, there is a physical self, pranic self, energy self, mental self, intellectual self, and bliss self. But the self as such is beyond all these five so called sheaths, so called aspects of the self. You see, no? It is immanent, it is inside, it is above side, outside. We are made of self, and the self is, though the self resides in us, and it reflects in our body, in our prana, in our mind, but at the same time, it is intact by all these material aspects, it is said. Such is the nature of the self. So, self is realized by the self alone. So, there must be some method, there must be something subtle, something of such nature which bypass the approach or the reach of sense organs, your body, your mind, your prana, and through these also, because this is the vehicle, this body is vehicle, indriyas are vehicle, medium, methods, but the self is in them and self is beyond them. So there must be some method, and the highest method, popular method, is known as meditation, sadhana, or kriya, or self-inquiry, or living in such a state, being in such a state, rather say, by which the knowledge of self descends upon you. Yes. Now comes, let's talk a little about realization. Realize, which I consider realization for me means many things. It is just having a kind of regression, realization, rewinding, remembering, reuniting, researching, and so many other things. Rethinking, reprogramming, retaining, restraining, restraining the senses, referring to that element, and maybe some more words may be added to this composite word realization, which contains many such. I just spoke about different words. So, realizing the self also means realizing your body, realizing your uh, senses, realizing your desires, realizing your nature, realizing your urges, realizing your karma, realizing your state of being, realizing your state of your physical, social condition, realizing your sufferings, realizing your qualities, realizing your powers, potentials, resources. So, realizing many minuscule, many minute details, powers, shortcomings, experiences of your being is what, in totality, together constitutes realization. The self realization easily said that knowing yourself is self realization. Oh, how to know the soul? How to know the self? Hmm? Just keeping your eyes closed, chanting some mantra, remembering some so called deity, the god, and you realize yourself. You come to the state of self realization. No, you have to know and realize your very, very composite self, as I say, in totality, in detail, in depth. Then, definitely, the state of that desired self realization may dawn upon you, or you may come face to face with your that self, which we call self realization. So, in brief, here, I would say this is a little about self realization. If we if you talk about the methods, of course, there are spiritual methods, there are wisdom method, there are karma method, devotional method, meditational, beyond psychological methods, tantric methods, or better say, if you ask me, yogic method, which covers all areas of spirituality as such. And by adopting any of the methods or some of the methods under the proper guidance of a guru, of a teacher, would be the best way for self realization. If even suppose you don't have any um, guru or teacher, you may all alone definitely tread this path until unless you find one. There is no need to search one. I mean, no need to search any guru or teacher. Just go on. But in course of your journey, you will definitely meet someone, meet someone's. Yes, you may have one or two or three gurus also, but definitely there is one who much aligns with your soul, no doubt about it. So, following the path of spirituality or self realization in a methodical way, because yoga is a methodical journey, yoga is a journey of discipline, yoga is a journey of rules and regulation. Spirituality itself is a journey of do's and don'ts and a little discipline and all. Spirituality at one end gives you complete freedom, but at the other end, it paves some ways. It definitely gives you some rules and regulation, some methods, some techniques by which, abiding by these, you realize yourself and you attain self realization as such. As I told you, in detail and depth, we would definitely talk about it later, but to understand it, for a beginner, for a new aspirant, for a debutant, a spiritual debutant, this is what self realization means. Yogasth.